Okay, welcome to part two of the debate review. So let's just get right into it. Jay Smith now accuses the Quran of having many different variants, meaning that it was corrupted just like the Bible. So Shabir Ally actually responded to that by saying that the differences you do find are actually acceptable differences which the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam allowed. Let's hear him speak on this.
So people were given a certain privilege to recite the Quran, even to the extent of substituting other synonymous words so that they got the meaning, because the initial impetus was for people to learn the meaning.
Okay, so that's the argument which Jay Smith has to refute. But not only that, but Shabir Ally also pointed out that if we look at the history of the Quran, especially at this early time, right from the very beginning, the Quran was given to the masses of the people. So everybody had it, the good, the bad, the poor, even the non-believers had the Quran. Taking this into consideration, we never find any disputes or any kind of, I don't know, town hall meetings where everyone's getting together saying, oh my gosh, the Quran has been corrupted. This book says this and this book says this. Which one is right? Is it this manuscript or is it this manuscript, leading to some kind of war or conflict or something like that? Rather, we find complete harmony on what the Quran states. So those variant, which Jay Smith points out, actually proves nothing. In order for his argument to work, he needs to show some kind of conflict or some kind of town hall meeting where people were getting together to show the Quran has been corrupted and they can't figure out which is the right one. Because remember, the Quran is in the hands of thousands and thousands of people at this point. So in response to all of this, this is what Jay Smith had to say. He said, the Quran has variants. Okay. He just basically got up and repeated his original argument. So in effect, what we have here is that there is no debate. No debate took place. And at this point, I'm a little bit upset. You know, my time is very precious here. This is about a two-hour debate here. Okay, I got a career, I got a family. You know, he just came to say the Quran has variants. He was supposed to refute these arguments of Shabir Ally that that there was never any disputes over the Quran and that there was acceptable differences. You got to refute that. But he didn't because he could not. And so his whole, in a way, this debate was kind of a waste. But there were still many good points which were raised. But the debate gets worse. It gets actually strange in the sense that Jay Smith actually comes up and gives a winning Islamic argument. Listen to this.
Later on, you said, what is important to notice is that throughout the ages of Muslim history, the Muslims have not quarreled over what is the text of the Quran, because the text was known through memory work and through the written materials handed down right from the time of the Prophet Muhammad.
Okay, great. So when he said that, I'm like, okay, now he's going to tear it apart. He's going to show why this is wrong. Throughout this entire 2.5-hour debate, he doesn't do that. He actually gives the winning argument, and this is the reason why the Quran has been preserved. So how was it that they were able to disseminate the Quran to so many thousands and millions of people when there's no printing presses? The reason why is because there's something unique about the Quran, that it can be memorized from the very beginning to the end, completely in the memory of people, and that's how they were able to translate it. So they don't have to rely on manuscripts. So trying to point out variants in the manuscripts is kind of a ridiculous argument, because there's the transmission of the Quran is happening at such a fast and furious pace amongst the people that I don't think they're going to rely on any manuscript. So anyways, you can actually watch this on YouTube. You can see these memorizers right over here. These are people, a person who has memorized the entire Quran from the beginning to the end. He is called a hafiz. And even today, children, as you can see from the YouTube video here, they have memorized the entire Quran from the beginning to the end. So in conclusion to this point here, I think it's important to point out that there's a very big difference between the Quran and the Bible. And that is, you see, the problem, when it came to the Bible, we kept talking about manuscript evidence and the manuscript. That's important for the Bible, because at the inception of when these New Testament scriptures were written, it was in the hands of maybe one guy, maybe two, maybe another person. So if someone brings in an additional manuscript which says something completely different, whoa, which one is the right one? Is it that one or is it this one? But that never happened with the Quran. Right from the get-go, when the Quran was revealed, it was given to everybody. Everyone got a copy. Here you go. One for you, one for you, one for you. So now, once a publication hits circulation, you cannot corrupt the book. Like today, if I wanted to, let's say, corrupt the Bible today, no, you cannot. Because I could take my own copy and tear it up and do whatever. God forbid I wouldn't do that. Or the Quran. That's not going to change your copy or what's on the internet. Because once a publication hits circulation, variants don't matter. These one person cannot change it, and that was a case of the Quran. It, from the very inception, it was given to the masses of people. So what determines the Quran is actually the community of believers coming together, and that's what determines the Quran, no individual manuscripts. And it's okay to have variants. So when a publication hits circulation, you're going to get a lot of variants. You do know that, right? Like, for example, if you were to go to my house and look at my daughter's scribbling of the Quran, you'll find she misspells the Quran. She introduces words or whatever. But my point is this. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry is now writing, okay? Are you, 1,000 years from now, are you going to take my daughter's scribbling of the Quran and say, hey, look, we have a variant of the Quran. You see, the Quran has been corrupt. No, that's ridiculous. Because at the time when my daughter lived, the Quran was in the hands of millions of people. So that doesn't make any sense once the publication hits circulation. So let me give you some quick references to show that. And this is a reference of even the non-believers had the Quran. You can research this yourself. I won't go too much into it, so don't make the tape too long over here. So in conclusion, the winning arguments of the debate are as follows. Considering the masses had the Quran, there were no disputes as far as the authenticity. People were able to memorize the entire Quran, allowing them not to rely on writing. In a debate, you need to refute these points, not just come up and say the Quran has variants. All right, so I think one of the reasons why Jay Smith wasn't able to present a counter rebuttal is because these are facts which cannot be disputed. There's a final point. One of the reasons why the Bible got corrupted actually is because of this. If the original writers of the Bible, what really could they do about it? If someone came with a different gospel, all right, what are they going to do about it? They can't do anything about it. They'll say, I could, during that time, like whoever the gospel writers were, you could just pick up a different fraudulent gospel or something and write it right in front of him and say, yeah, there you go. This is going to be my gospel. They could just sit there and just stare. They didn't have the ability to do anything. But this wasn't the case of the Muslims. The Muslims, right from the very beginning, were put in positions of power where they became the leaders of the society, making them able to determine the course of their future, while the early Christians were not, making them susceptible to the external influences. And that's the second reason why the Bible got corrupt. So thank you very much. What I'm going to, last point. Shabir Ally also brought up another good argument about that there is a numerical system in the Quran which shows that it has never been corrupted. Like, for example, Jesus and Adam were both mentioned 25 times in the Quran. So what I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to have to try to play devil's advocate and try to refute and try to bring refutations to Shabir's argument because Jay Smith just stood there and didn't refute the argument. So I'll have to now play the role of Jay Smith inside the next debate and try to see if I can refute Shabir Ally's argument. So in conclusion, it was a disappointment. I really wish if you couldn't refute the Quran, if you couldn't argue against the case, then you should have admitted that. You should have not wasted people's time. And I think I just want to end by one quotation from Shabir Ally on this. And here's what he had to say.
Or are you conforming to that passage of the Quran which says that on the one hand, there will be some, even among the people of the book, who will achieve certainty by this kind of discovery, but there will be others, people with disease in their hearts, who will say, what does God mean by all of this? So some people will deride the information.
So I think we shouldn't put ourselves in that position where the Quran talked about people having sickness in their hearts, that no matter what evidence you show them, they just become like deaf, dumb, and blind. Thank you very much for watching.